Futures Ring, Tuesday, January 7, 2042. Realtek GFO Flash News. Since the end of 2041, capitalism has been revitalized, more qualified jobs and/or services are being created. There is less unemployment and there's less people working for the government. Machines pay taxes, and are the replacement in security, military and lower-paid jobs. ITER and its nuclear fusion power GND belongs now to the Global Federal Organization, GFO. All blockchain services and cryptocurrencies the Global Federal Organization, GFO. Blue Drones Enterprises are now department of the Global Federal Organization, GFO, and no longer called Blue Enterprises, but Federal Drones. Education is now only a private business, no more given public schools. Competition has lowered its costs. Toshin and programming code and/or creating educational alternatives via private lessons, visual and audio programs, podcasts, holograms, radio broadcasts, softwares, etc. There are many more new private businesses that can compete with government top-tier services. There's only one government jurisdiction, GFO, that takes care of all of the world's government and private departments. All organized religion are now demoralized principles and corruption is severely criminalized by the GFO. All private sports teams are 40% owned by the government, GFOL, just like all private casinos and lotteries are games of chance. All pharmaceuticals are also now totally owned by the new Global Federal Organization, GFO. Cancer, DUIs, herpes, and all deadly viruses diseases have cures now and are no longer a problem to the world. The only diseases available are intravenous infusion from parasites and bacteria created by a chemical mutation that is transferred to the bloodstream from the strength of medicines that prevent and cure viruses. These new diseases GFO scientists are already trying to break down. All of the world's uranium and lithium are owned by the GFO. Only the world government can produce atomic energy and/or nuclear power. Plutonium, tritium, deuterium, and protium or any other molecular structure and its applications are now obligatorily reported in the Global Federal Organization, GFO, or face heavy criminalization penalties. GFO is now a completely restructured global economic and security organization. Together with all of the world intergovernmental and governmental organizations such as the UN, NATO, OSCE, WEOWTO, and others that have come together in only one world jurisdiction that was created on December 1, 2041.
The grid is sponsored by the UV Rid Kit, the Immune System Booster, glowing capsules, the original ultraviolet radiation prevention and cancer treatment. UV Rid Kit available in a store near you. Let's start again from the very beginning of this story. The exact year is 2039. Julian Nacca from Phoenix, Arizona, an art restorer that is now living in Florence, Italy. One of these days had to shop for a Leonardo da Vinci inventions book, so he decided to go for a walk to the nearest library. In the sky, there was the sun gun helio beam that protects us from the malicious sun rays, drones that display temperatures, fight fires, carry public services, have cameras, and so much more. In the library, the most beautiful girl in the world, like they were meant to be. She that had just graduated from college was helping her dad, the owner of the D'Agata's library. Alicia D'Agata was her name, and Julian was about to go for a ride, the ride of his life, the biggest crush ever. At the library, the biggest sound score and the scent of a jasmine invades his presence, like he was now trapped in Alexandria's Egypt. In another time, perhaps. In another place.
Karu. Mio Karu.
Oh, sorry, do you speak English?
Sure, how can I help you?
Yes, I am searching for a good Leonardo da Vinci's inventions book.
Well, we suggest one from 1988, a Marco Cianci, Leonardo da Vinci's Machines editorial. I can order it now in English to suit your needs, and it should arrive here by early next week.
Great, I live close by. It's actually been already a couple of months, and I have never seen you here at Mr. D'Agata's bookstore.
No, he's my father. I just graduated my master's degree from Scuola Superiore Santa Anna in Pisa, and I just returned back home.
What's your name?
Alicia D'Agata.
Oh yes, let's order that book, Alicia. You must have my customer's file in store already. My name is Julian Nacca. Can you please call me when it arrives?
As she searches for his customer's file, Julian, perturbed quickly, signs off with a contraventional goodbye. As he walks home, many awkward things happen in the way, and his head started aching. Boiling were his thoughts.
What as hell have I just done? Here I am, a 27-year-old that still acts like a little boy. Oh my. She surely was a time bomb, but there's no need to act like a scary chicken. What am I afraid of? She's only a beautiful young lady. Maybe the most beautiful woman I've ever known.
She had no idea where she was headed. Julian had to purchase RID kits in the USA before the contamination spread to the Eastern Hemisphere. The epidemic was treatable, but supplies were merely being sold to the wealthiest communities. Thank God, says Julian with a smile on his face. His parents were still living in the USA and were from the upper middle class, and it meant that he could get his hands on some of the supply before the epidemic spread to the Eastern Hemisphere. Great. It was about time Julian asked Alicia out on a date to a rescue mission in the USA. The grid is sponsored by the UV Rid Kit, the immune system booster, glowing capsules, the original ultraviolet radiation prevention and cancer treatment. UV Rid Kit available in a store near you. On the next day, a Saturday, Julian was invited for lunch at the Capellas. His boss, Antonio, like most times, was all equipped as a chef. But what he was interested in was getting UV Rid kits before the epidemic arrived in the Eastern Hemisphere. That lunch was not as much fun as on the other previous times. After all, the news wasn't very appealing. But the Brunello di Montalcino wine was very tasty, like all the wine bottles Julian had before.
Enjoy, my son. You'll never know when it's your last.
Surely, boss.
Please treat me as your friend, or as a family member, if you prefer. You know that I have been like your uncle since the day you were born. Hasn't your father taught you that, boy?
Come on now, Kappa. You know I am just teasing you. What else could I ask more from life than to have one uncle like you? You already know that I have manners, and I will always separate business and work from my family and friends. I really love to be with you all, and it doesn't really matter if I am your employee or if I am your friend. I will always treat you and Mrs. Fiona Capelli with respect, and always as necessary, but only, and you know, only regarding each of the circumstances.
Stop it now, guys. The Brunello wine,
On Julian's way home after Capelli's weekly Saturday lunch, Julian talks to his parents' holograms, projected by his Flyware Smart Annihilation Gear collection sneakers, telling him that he should remain calm, that everything was going to be just fine. The grid is sponsored by the UV Rid Kit, the immune system booster, glowing capsules, the original ultraviolet radiation prevention and cancer treatment. UV Rid Kit available in a store near you. A lot of people were escaping the Western Hemisphere, and Tuscany was one of Italy's region of choice. Julian's father, Mr. Motola Nacca, a successful master dealer at the MoMA Museum in Manhattan, used to provide Julian with history, philosophy, economy, and even theology. And for that reason, Julian wanted to travel the world and learn about new cultures. This was so much more important to him than knowing a God or knowing men's sins. On Julian's mind, theology was trapping the human's evolution in fairy tales and in men's greed. In the meanwhile, Julian was now trapped in Alicia's realm, but before Julian could visit his parents in NY, he had to fix the paragliding machine invented by Leonardo da Vinci. Mr. Antonio Capelli was the museum's boss, and where Julian was now working at. You are brilliant. However, there's wisdom that is concealed from you. The information you are bound to learn will overturn the setup complexity of things.